Hey sightseers, it's Sightseeing Sally, and I'm with Marty and the pups, like usual. We're making our way down to Kohler, Wisconsin, and if you're wondering why Kohler, here's the reason.
One of the first planned industrial communities in the United States, Kohler, Wisconsin is believed to be one of the most successful company-started towns. Designed with the notion to be a garden community at the factory gate, this small Wisconsin village where toilets come from has evolved from being just a company-started town into a world-class destination.
Now when I say town, I mean that rather loosely, because Kohler was actually incorporated as a village in 1912.
Originally designed by the Olmsted brothers, the same landscape architects who planned Central Park in New York City, the village still follows a master plan to oversee its growth and development.
Hence, this is a place that's going to maintain a certain aesthetic, one you likely won't find anywhere else in the state. Not to mention, one of our viewers and supporters, David from Arizona, was kind enough to put together a wealth of information so I didn't have to do all the research myself. We're going to head there now and check it out. I personally have only been there one time before, and that's because this isn't our first time attempting to go film Kohler.
Because good old Marty was crying like a baby because he needed a root canal done.
Well, if it's any consolation, Marty, I did feel bad for you that you needed that root canal. But today, we're not going to let anything like that stop us. We're going to film this one way or another.
With the exception I need another root canal.
Fingers crossed. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Kohler, by the way, for those of you wondering where it's located in Wisconsin, is close to Sheboygan and is next door to Sheboygan Falls. Hold on a second. I'll pull it up on the map for you just so you can see. Well, here we are, coming up on the exit. You can see the sign for it, Village of Kohler, off to my left. There it is. Without realizing it, many of you have likely already heard of Kohler, and that's because if you look in your bathroom, you may have bathroom fixtures made by the Kohler Company. Besides that, Kohler is well known as a destination for people looking to get away. And up over here, you can see the Kohler Design Center. That's where you can go to check out fixtures and get ideas for designing your dream bathroom, and if I'm not mistaken, also kitchen. Since Marty parked over by the Design Center, I thought I'd pop in there real quick to see if they'll let me film any of it. Wow, this is amazing. Look at the detail on these sinks. They're just gorgeous. And the faucets. I would have a really hard time picking something out because there's just so many beautiful options. This is one of my favorite ones. I like how it looks somewhat traditional, like the old sinks that you would find in a historic home or historic bathhouse. And then if you look at the light fixtures, they kind of have an industrial feel to them. They're very clean, sleek. They've got really nice curves to them. Just very pleasing to the eye. And really, isn't that the point? To design something very aesthetically pleasing, almost like creating a work of art for your bathroom or kitchen. Now we're talking. I always wanted a big old clawfoot bathtub, but I think this'll do. Or how about this one? They have a special feature here, what's called the Great Wall of China. I hear it is one of those things you just gotta see. And as it just so happens, it's made mainly out of toilets. Porcelain toilets, although I hear there may be some up there that are made out of other materials now. But rather than me keep blabbing on about it, why don't we show it to you? Can I get a drum roll, please? Ta-da! Pretty neat. Definitely worth a stop if you ever get the chance to come out here. It's incredible. They have every last detail thought out. It's as if you walked into your own private bath. And not only that, they have designs to fit every taste. If you're not a fan of black and white, you can go with pretty and pink instead. As much as I would love to look at every design here, I think we're going to move on. Oh, wow. The more I see of the designs here, I am amazed. They are incredible. I love the wallpaper, by the way. That is a nice touch. Oh, you're not going to believe what I just saw. It's my dream bath. Something I've always wanted is one of these clawfoot tubs put in front of a huge window so you can look out while you're taking a bath. This is it. Can I just stay here? Do you think they would mind if I just filled up the tub and took a long bubble bath? Nobody will know. I mean, we'll just put curtains over the windows and... Okay, I know, I'm being silly, but that is one of my all-time favorite types of bathtubs. I've always wanted a clawfoot tub in my own home. All right, well, as I was saying, we should probably get moving on if we're going to see the rest of Kohler. And I'm not talking about Kohler fixtures or Kohler products. I'm talking about the village. If you head down to their lower level, you'll find a rich display of Kohler's history. As I mentioned at the beginning of the video, except for the day that we came to film Kohler and then Marty ended up having to need that root canal, so we left. This is my first time in Kohler, like really in Kohler. I had never been to the Design Center before, nor the museum. I'm seeing all this for the first time, and I have to say, I am just blown away. I don't even know where to begin. The story of the Kohlers spans 4 generations, according to my little helpful guide behind me. But that's not the only thing I find incredible. Is we've been to some company-run towns or started towns, most of them being ghost towns, and the fact that Kohler has managed to, 1, survive, number 2, evolve into this prime destination where people come from all over the world. It just kind of just blows my mind. This man here, John Michael Kohler, founded the Kohler Company in 1873, and they started out producing farm implements, but then evolved into making bathroom fixtures simply because he had the foresight or the vision to take a wrought iron horse trough, a wrought iron tub, put enamel on it, and convert it into a bathtub. From there, his legacy just grew. The second generation, which would be his sons and daughters, basically took the opportunity to welcome immigrants and provide them a great place to work. Not only did they do that, they built what is now the American Club, which is a world-class hotel, that started out as housing for the immigrants that came here. I'm going to stop here for a second to point out just some of the bathroom fixtures. You got an old sink here, another old sink there, one of the clawfoot tubs here, a toilet, another bathtub, and you got this bathtub here, which is a version of the clawfoot, and this old sink here. I say that, I don't know for certain if there's feet underneath that little bit of an apron or not. I do know that the early bathroom fixtures were designed more with functionality in mind than aesthetics, and over time evolved into what they are known for today. Pieces that are not only functional but artistically designed. Not to mention their quality. The company exists and thrives today because of all the dedicated people who have, over time, built a respected, aspirational brand and established an enviable reputation. The dedicated craftsmen, the Kohlers themselves, they've all played a role in creating this. Something you might find interesting is that with the union, there has been a history, some history of labor unrest. While for the most part, labor relations have been peaceful, there have been a few strikes. Specifically, there have been strikes in 1897, 1934, a period of 6 years between 1954 and 1960, 1983, and then again in 2015. Despite that, the company has thrived. And so has the village, which, if I stay in here any longer, we may not get to today. We may have to come back at a later date and explore more of Kohler. There's really a lot here in this museum I find fascinating. Like specifically, where else can you find a lavender sink? Or a toilet with a geometric design painted on it? Or how about this lovely tub? Made out of teak wood. One of the things I really like is how the Kohlers treated the immigrants, unlike some of the other company towns that, you know, the old saying, sold your soul to the company store. Well, Walter J. Kohler Sr. is credited with saying, "A worker deserves not only wages, but roses as well." He was determined not to build another company town that exploited its workers, but rather create a place that would provide a better life for his immigrant workers. Not only was the American Club a residence for the immigrant workers, it also provided them a place where they could learn. In the evenings, they could take classes in civics, American history, and English grammar. Essentially, they helped their workers attain American citizenship. Between 1918 and 1930, 854 Kohler associates took out their first papers for American citizenship. Tell me, how many other company towns run by those robber barons can actually lay claim to something like that? Over here, you can watch a video on the small town and world-renowned golf, because one of the things that they've done here is build an amazing golf course. I know some of you already know this. I'm not a golfer, but even I can appreciate the beauty and the grandeur of the golf course that they built to go along with the American Club. In 1983, 2 years after the American Club Resort Hotel opened, Herb Kohler was presented with a stack of suggestion slips from guests lamenting the fact that Kohler did not have its own golf course. And apparently, I'm not the only one who didn't know a whole lot about golf. At the time, the American Club offered a transportation over to area golf courses. But Herb Kohler himself wasn't much of a golfer. But that didn't stop him from granting his guests' wishes for a golf course.
Not only did he give his guests a golf course, he created a world-class experience through the development of Whistling Straits and Black Wolf Run.
And as they say, the rest is history. I know a lot of you probably already know about the golf course as the PGA has been hosted there. And then, of course, you've got the amazing spa that's here. Another place I haven't been. If you haven't figured it out by now, we've seen a transformation in Kohler from being just a company village with its manufacturing into something more, something greater, an experience, if you will. And that's largely due to the efforts of Herbert V. Kohler Jr.
Herbert V. Kohler Jr. is said to have been a larger-than-life dynamic force, with his vision to turn the village into a place known for gracious living. Besides the aforementioned golf courses and the opening of the American Club, he added sports facilities, a retail area, the spa, the design center, and a wildlife preserve.
Wow, there was just so much in there. I could have probably stayed in there another hour or so looking at everything, but figured we better get moving so you could see a little bit of the village before it gets dark. I'm now up over on the corner of Highland and Grace. You can see in front of me the Kohler smokestack, the iconic Kohler smokestack, and then to my left is the American Club. You can see it's huge. On the National Register of Historic Places, this is where the immigrant workers stayed, after they were done with their shift in the factory. And then across the street is one of the manufacturing facilities. And straight ahead, where you can see the flags flying, is where the spa and the design center are. I don't know how many of you realize this, but next year, 2024, which is only a few short weeks away, will mark the 150th anniversary of the Kohler Company, which is pretty incredible when you think about it. By the way, given the design of the village, there is no downtown per se.
This area along Highland Drive is likely the closest you'll get to a downtown.
Of all the cities I've been in, this is one of them that it's well taken care of. There's a lot of street lights, everything's well manicured. I mean, there is no bad spot in this town. It's actually kind of neat.
I noticed that as well. This doesn't look like a place where you're going to find a bunch of litter strewn about, and you're not going to find some junky clunker parked next door.
Bunch of junk in a yard.
No, nothing like that at all. It looks very well taken care of. A lot of pride, probably civic pride involved as well, because I think that comes as a result of things being taken care of. People tend to feel more that way. We're now over at the cemetery. I wanted to show you because I thought this was pretty incredible as well, where the Kohler family has been laid to rest, and it surprised me. Normally when you go into a cemetery and you look at the graves of individuals who were influential in a town or a city, or you know what I'm saying, somebody that's got some kind of clout or celebrity status, usually, not all the time, but usually, or fairly frequently enough, they have large headstones or maybe even a huge family mausoleum. Not the Kohlers. Where they're laid to rest is quite minimalistic and fairly humble looking. In other words, even though they have a fairly large area, they do have a large family, so that's really not a surprise, but it's off to the side, all by itself. There is no large showy markers. It's just what you see here. And now that I had a moment to contemplate it, it really isn't all that surprising, given the nature of how they treated their employees, wanted something better for the immigrants that came here, how do you put it? Their interest in making the world a better place, their philanthropy. It all adds up in my book.